Right behind me is CYC, the City Youth Center. This is where my brother Matt was incarcerated as a juvenile for an extended period of time as he waited to be transferred to Louisiana Training Institution. As you can see, the building is abandoned. You can see the razor wire all across the building because behind me is where the officers would have to watch everything, and that's where the generator was and everything that they used to run this facility. The cop cars would park right here, and you would come visit and you would have to park. This is on Tulane Avenue in New Orleans. Let me show it to you. See behind me? We're on Tulane Avenue. All around me, this is in New Orleans. And right behind me, probably less than a block in front of me, I'm gonna pan up and show you, that's where the inmates escaped from the Orleans Parish prison. I'm gonna walk up there and show you that too, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna look specifically at CYC, which was Conchetta Youth Center, or the City Youth Center. Let's go check out where the inmates escaped from New Orleans, and I'm gonna show you how close it was to the juvenile facility. So, as you can see, as I pan around, you can see the gun towers, which are not manned. Right there is a gun tower. And City of New Orleans didn't even have guards in those gun towers. They don't man the gun towers anymore. So those inmates were able to escape really easy. And they literally escaped not far from right there. As I'm approaching CYC, the City Youth Center, right in front of me, right by the jail, right next to where the Juvenile Detention Center used to be, free me bail bonds, right here in New Orleans, man. So when your people go to jail, that's where you can go come get out at. It's ironic, but hey, that's where it's at. Now we're gonna come right up on CYC, where my brother was incarcerated, and I'm gonna be telling some stories about my brother's incarceration time. Here we go. This is CYC, City Youth Center. In the distance, right far from the Falstaff sign. Guard room right there. And this is where we would come to visit my brother, and we would come in here. Now you can see it is a place
walk across.
What's that?
I'm about to do like a walk across.
Okay. We about to do some urban exploring, you heard me? At CYC, the City Youth Center. And as you can see, unauthorized personnel permitted in this area. I don't think I'm authorized. And there it is, the badge and the sheriff, Marlon Guzman, sheriff of Orleans Parish. Obviously, he's not the sheriff no more, but Sheriff Marlon Guzman has a lot of stories to tell. Is he going to tell them? I don't know, but we're going to do some urban exploring in the Juvenile Detention Center known as Conchetta Youth Center, where my brother done juvenile time. And it was a gladiator school, literally. You had to be a soldier to have done time in this building. If you wasn't about your business, you was gonna get taken advantage of. It didn't matter if you was on the top floor or the bottom floor where they rolled you in. This place was a nightmare. This place was the type of place where, you ever seen the movie Sleepers? I read the book Sleepers when I was in prison, and that book was brutal, and it was about New York juvenile detention centers where some young white juveniles got physically abused by correctional officers. Well, over here, all the correctional officers was black, and most of the inmates, the young juvies, were black. But they would send whites here too, like my brother. And the white dudes I know who've spent time in this particular building, well, you either had to be about it or you was gonna be a victim. 2614 Tulane Avenue. Let me pan behind you to show you what you would see as a juvenile coming to do time here as you rolled up. Bam, right there in the corner, all the way over there in the distance, that's where the Orleans Parish jail is. That's right, that's where those 10 inmates escaped from a couple years ago. And some of them had some vicious charges, but I promise you, back in the day, a lot of them probably started off right here at Conchetta Youth Center, which is now an abandoned building, which will probably be demolished at some point. Like I said, I came here to visit my brother, and we would walk up these stairs, and your heart would be racing because you didn't know what you was gonna do, because everybody else would be waiting in line to get into one of these doors. See this door right here? There's the security, the intercom. You would have to press this button, and then to come into these doors, and you would get buzzed in, bang, clink, and the door would open. You would hit this knob to walk in. And as a juvenile, if you knew you were coming here, when that buzzer went off, bang, or that officer swiped his badge and his hand opened this door and you were shackled and you were walking in here, you knew one thing. Your heart was racing, because this was gladiator school. You had to be a soldier. I knew a handful of dudes who came here, and I'm gonna show you something very ironic. That sign right there, notice, no electronic devices, including cell phones, are prohibited beyond this point. There was no cell phones back then. It was just get it how you live. You heard me? And look at that, another cell phone image. This building's probably been lit on fire. I'm sure the homeless been living here, and look at it. Just like, it's weird, man. You see those lights right there? Those are the type of fluorescent lights that sit inside cells in the state of Louisiana prison system. Inside your cell, in the different cell blocks and in the parish jail, that's the lights that sit in the cell right above the toilet. A fluorescent light that never goes out, sitting right out here at CYC Conchetta Youth Center. And here was the place where you checked in. You had to put your badge right through here, your identification, your license, and an officer would grab it. They would check you out and make sure you was on the visiting list, and you would be staring, but that was a two-way window. There's the door. That's where you would go inside once they buzzed you in, because the other door was for inmates. Those doors, when you came to get your visitation started here. You didn't go through those doors. That was for officers and juvenile delinquents. But this was the door that I went in to visit my brother. I remember we used to come visit him right here. Matt, here's a picture of Matt right here when he was in LTI. And I'm gonna be doing a big story on him coming up. And I'm gonna use some of this footage, of course. But as you can see, this place is dilapidated now. The irony is that my brother did time in this place and he wound up sleeping, you know, out here homeless. And look at this. Inside there is where the homeless people are living. This place is kind of spooky on what's really going on in this place, you know? Can you imagine how many children, how many young juveniles were abused in there by officers and by each other, by one another? There are stories that need to be told, man. And this place is dilapidated, and they're probably gonna tear this building down, no doubt, because what are they gonna do with it? Like I said, I'm right here on Tulane Avenue in New Orleans. And as you can see, I'm about to show you something. This right here, check this out. Used to be all secured, but as you can see, It's all been torn apart, and I'm sort of kicked in. These are screens. Look at how tough that screen is. And the homeless go in there and sleep. At least it gets them out the weather. And that's a staircase that goes up. You can see the staircase going each way up, all the way up. There's the stairs. I'm gonna show you the stairs. But now people have broken in here, and look right there. You can see, you can't see it, but there's stairs right there, man. And those inmates would go up there and be marched up there, man. I don't know how the system works, but here's outside the building. Bam, right there. You can see, man. You can imagine the people parking their cars, waiting in line to see their loved ones. And look right here. You can see the Sally Port. This is where the officer used to come in with their car. They would pull in right here. And man, them Orleans Parish, Jefferson Parish, Baton Rouge, depending. No, I don't think no Baton Rouge dudes were here, but Jefferson Parish and St. Bernard Parish for sure. Look at that. That's where the officer will be in the key, buzzing in the cars that were dropping off young juveniles here, man. That's where juveniles done time at, y'all, in New Orleans. This place is abandoned and dilapidated and creepy, man. You can see the razor wire along back there. And behind us, you would see that's where the yard was. They would give them yard time. And look right here, I'm gonna show you something. I don't know if we're supposed to be going in here, but we are. Let's do some urban digging, man. This stuff gets dangerous. I don't know what we're gonna find. Plus, you don't know what kind of, I rebuke any evil spirits of innocent children who might have got hurt, but here we go. Here's a gate, and I'm gonna walk through it. I don't know if I should, because I need to know where my brother was, right? And look at it. And I wouldn't bet against the fact that my brother might have stayed back here. Look at the razor wire across the top to keep the inmates from escaping. The juveniles, when I say inmates, I'm saying juveniles. Look at the old control panel. Man, can you imagine the stories this building has? Wait, I found life. There's life. There's life. Little lizard, what happened here? Do you even know? All right, he's doing time, but he's free. Look at it. What's that say? Something boys. It's funny that it has the word boys, because that's who up here, boys. Look, the building there. Look, man, generator. Campaign signs. Trash. Blight. Whoa, y'all, look at this. I just uncovered a beehive. There's literally bees. Look at that's honeybees in the old CYC, Conchetta Youth Center building. There is a literal hornets, not a honeybee hive, not a hornets, because I hate hornets, but honeybees are beautiful. And look at that. They're all coming toward me. I'm gonna step back. I don't want to stir them up. This is crazy. Look, you can see them coming out the wall. Man, look at that. A whole honeybee hive on this old dilapidated building. Look at this. See how they got to keep the inmates? And juvenile inmates would escape. They were bold. A friend of mine I did a video with, and he was talking about how, harsh juveniles were in jail, and that's where it all started. I'm gonna show y'all something that's really creepy. Look at this. An old lock. You know what that looks like? That's literally the locks that they use to shackle inmates in Louisiana. That lock and that chain probably was a waist shackle to holding juvenile down as they transported them from point A to point B. And then right here, the souls were drowned out in the drains. The souls of inmates who were abused, young juvenile delinquents. Look at this place, man. Overgrown with vines, bees, and a lone lizard to tell a story. And graffiti. And that's new graffiti. Look, 2026. Let's see what we can see. Little raw dog. We're gonna do some graffiti work soon, y'all. Well, and then what's really uncanny is that the skeleton is there watching the lost souls who are no longer with us that come back to visit this place because of what they experienced as juveniles. So many men came through this place as boys, and now They're probably in Angola or some other Louisiana prison. But this was a gladiator school where you had to fight. My brother got in a lot of fights here. I want to see those bees one more time. I think I hear voices inside this building. Let's get out of here before something crazy happens. I think I'm gonna try to get in the building so I can give y'all some real good content of an old CYC Conchetta Youth Center. Look at that. You can literally see the lock. That lock right there, that's where the key would go into, and that's the big jail keys. You know the big jail keys that they use? And the officer would have to put those keys in there and unlock it. Man, these are big, heavy doors. The intercom. Man, it's crazy. Let's see what we can see. Look through the door. Let's see what we got. Hold on, y'all. You can see the old phone, file cabinets, and stories. My brother, when we visit my brother, he had a black eye a couple times because he was always fighting. We're gonna try to do something we shouldn't do. We're gonna try to go through the building. Let's see if this door is unlocked. Let's see if this gate's unlocked. You know, I'm afraid that we're gonna run across some poor dude OD'd in the back, and I'm gonna have to call the police to report that we stumbled across a body. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. 1, we don't want to find none. 2, we don't want to find none. Here we go. It's really, you know, New Orleans is an old pretty city, man, but they got relics like this with, you know, horrific, historic stories that are hidden forever, man. I'm telling you, man, the brutal stories. I knew a lot of people who were in here, man. Like I said, my brother had that black eye. And I'm like, what's happening? He was fighting. I know he was good because he was dapping up all them dudes, all them black dudes from the projects, 7th Ward, 3rd Ward, 9th Ward, Uptown. He was cool with all of them. You know, West Bank, Mary Poppins, whatever, you know. But this was the yard. This was literally yard. It had all, you know, fences around it. And in the distance, man, there's always somebody watching. An old Greek god watching over the poor souls of battered and beat up boys inside a juvenile detention center. Who is that? I don't know. That's on the Falstaff building. There's this thing. And here, I don't think we can get in. There's the upstairs door. There's something back here. Let's just see what we can see over here. Yeah. Let me just finish this one. So there's this door right here. Let's see what it is. And you can walk up the stairs. I wonder if that door is open. Somebody's clothes. Another lizard. Whoa, a spooky hallway. Look at that, the lighter. Look at that lighter. This is scary. Whoa, look. That door is welded shut, y'all. The key, where the prison key used to go, is locked shut. And they literally welded that door shut. Look at the welds. The wiring's cut. Panel boxes tore out. Vines growing. And we have to give it a try. We have to see if it's open, y'all. We have to see. I'm going through poison ivy. Let's see. Locked. Whoa, y'all, look up there. Whoa. Where does it go? They couldn't escape nothing. Everything's